I'm starting another little sorting project here. This box is labeled string and ribbon on the front, and it sort of starts to become anything but that. And I got a whole bunch of things that don't belong in this bin. So I'm going through and I'm sorting, getting out the things that don't belong and keeping it just to what it says on the outside of the box, just string and ribbon. But of course, it's a big mess and everything is all tangled up off its spool. You can't really reach in and get anything that you need without having to untangle the whole thing. So if you get some downtime and you feel like untangling your ribbon drawer, and you have a drawer that gets to be something like this, it's a really relaxing thing to do, to just go and sort through whenever you have 10 or 15 minutes. Roll up some string, make some nice neat little rolls of this stuff, like how this is. It is so much easier to reach in and grab something like this, take off what you need, and always put it right back the way you found it. Of course, once the kids get their hands in this drawer, that's how it starts looking like this. But we always try to keep it nice in the start, right? So about a year ago, I organized this same drawer, and now I'm feeling it's time to do it again. So I've got another little wound up spool here. And then I've also got some ribbons that I'm finding as I'm going through. I do have just some spools of ribbon that needed to be sort of put back onto their cardboard. And then I'll show you how I kind of neatly tuck in the end, so that way it doesn't happen again. It doesn't unravel and find that it's making a bigger mess. So I've got a whole bunch of spools like this, but the end is just somewhere in there. So I wind it up and I try to keep it flat, because this ribbon is flat ribbon, and so I don't want it to curl or crimp, because once it's wound that way, it might stay like that. And if you want it to lay flat on whatever you're doing, you don't want it to have a twist. So then you get to the end and you have 1.5 inches or so. So you hold it still, and then you just take your scissor and you cut a little bit right there. So you make a notch for yourself, and you put your string back in there. Now then, when you go to use it, you might end up breaking the ribbon off somewhere, wherever you cut it, where you're not going to be able to easily reach this notch. So what you could do is you can give yourself 4 notches on your ribbon spools right away, and you can, while you're at it, just put one here and one there and then one there. That way, wherever you end your ribbon, you're always going to be near one of your 4 notches. And then just gently tug it in there, because if you pull it too hard, you might rip it, or you might open up that little slot more than it needs to be. But that'll hold it really tight and secure in there. And then if you throw it back into the bin of ribbons, it won't come undone. And I've got a whole bunch more that I'm going to do the same thing with. And then when sometimes I'll find I have some really short pieces that really aren't much use for, a big project or anything. These right here, I say if they're like 12 inches or less, then you can put those aside. This one's a really short one, but still good for something, because this is a neat little string, the variegated string. And so if you don't want to throw it away, because it's still fun for something and you might be able to make a little bow or dress up something with it, then I have a bag where I just put all my little scraps of ribbon. And then this is more or less, these should all be pieces to me that are 12 inches or less. And so that way it's okay if they're tangled, because you can reach in and pull it out. Even if they're tangled up in there, they're not going to be that tangled because they're short pieces of string. So these are fun for making fringe on flip-flops or t-shirts, and you just need a little bow or something like that for a little project you're doing. And then you can just put all your loose pieces in a bag like that. So these are always going to be your short pieces, and anything that's longer than that either gets wound up like this or gets put back on its spool. I've got all kinds of weird little different types of packaging, like this one here. So this kind of gives me ideas, and thinking, wow, I could probably just use a scrap piece of cardboard, and if I cut it this way, where I have sort of a wider piece here and a wider piece there, maybe I can just wind some string right around that, and it will have a place where it doesn't fall off. So I've got that. But then I think the end kind of looks like this might end up getting into a mess, because this little end isn't tied down to anything. So you can just pick up the strings and tuck it underneath and pull it through. So that way that won't happen on that, and kind of secure it down like that. And then I've also got stuff like this, where this had a whole bunch of strings on there at one time, but now it's only got one left. It gives you 3 places here where you could put something, maybe a similar type of string. Better tuck this down before the same thing happens to this one. Maybe a similar type of string could go on here, or just you want to keep all your blues together, or just you have a short piece that isn't really long enough to wrap back up into something like this, and you just want to be able to see it or keep them together for some reason. You could do something like that. Of course, as I'm digging through this box, I find this little container here that had a strand of beads on there, and didn't know where the lid was, but as you start digging around, you find it in there. This will probably need a little piece of tape though to keep it on so it doesn't open up again, but this won't really tangle up too much because it's kind of stays in its little package, so you can kind of put the cap back on, stuff like that. Just the trick is you can get it cleaned up and feel really good about it, but you can't let it get back the way it was. You have to always maintain it, and even if you're in a hurry, maybe don't throw the ribbon back in the container if you're in a hurry and you know you didn't take the time to wind it up. Set it somewhere. Set it in a basket where this is a basket of things that I need to take care of before I can put them away. So you put that somewhere, you set it out. It's your little visual reminder. When you see it, you remember, oh yeah, I need to wrap that up and put it back in there neatly, or else my ribbon drawer is going to get a mess again. So this one I'm just going to make my little notch just like I did on the other, so keep it together. And then this is also a good time to go through and say maybe there's some ribbons in here you don't need anymore. Maybe you could donate them or get rid of them if you don't want them anymore. So take some time to sort through and get rid of the things that are just taking up space. There's something so relaxing about taking your time on a day when you don't have a whole lot to do, and just feeling productive about something. On a day like today, I had the day off, and sometimes I just don't know what to do with the day off. You know, if you don't have any plans or anything you've been working towards, maybe it just feels like a boring day, you're going to be wasting your time. But start a project. Find something that needs to be sorted. I know everything kind of seems like it's always set and ready to go, and you don't want to mess with it. And everything seems like you have it where you want it, but a lot of stuff could be improved and a lot of stuff can be neatened up, and it might seem like a daunting task, a big project you don't really want to start, but once you get started with it, it really starts to pass the time. You get into that mental flow and you start feeling good about doing something productive with your time, or else you might end up just wasting it watching TV or scrolling through Facebook or doing something that's not really going to benefit you in any way. But something like this, you feel good about it, you clean up your little craft space, and maybe even find some stuff you didn't know you had. These are going to be a little tricky because these have so many different edges on them. I'm not sure I'll be able to wrap those and stick them in a little notch on the side of the spool. Oh, there's so many of them too. Wow, I might have to take these off and do something different with them, or I might even go back to my little cardboard piece and stick them on there. And as I was digging, I found one more, so I've got another option here for more string that doesn't have a home. I can wrap it around something like this, so I've got all kinds of options. So find something that you haven't looked at in a while. Pick a closet, pick a drawer, pick a cabinet. That cabinet that you're almost afraid to open because you know it's going to be a mess. You know it's not going to be easy to find what you're looking for. And start in that one little area and just see what you can get done. Well, that one hasn't even been opened yet. Because to me, this is a way to spend a lazy day. You can be lazy while you do it too. You don't have to wear yourself out. You can take your time, put on some music, enjoy it.